Everyone! Let's start because we've received complaints that not only are we lewd and a little raunchy, we're also run late. So let's drain any humor and joy out of this meeting, shall we? All right. Yes. All right. So spontaneous. Well, guys, Monday. Happy Monday. Last week we had a great week. We had our great 3 days, and thanks everyone for the hard work. I know some of you guys worked on the weekend too, so thank you for that. This is our only full concentrated week, so I'm going to do my best to not have any meetings outside this meeting. But if you ever have any questions, immediately bother me or send out emails. I don't want to slow our progress down. If you need anything, food at night or whatever, I'll be happy to get it for you. Just let me know. All right, so I'll go real quickly. I posted some concepts yesterday, and I got for the heads because Jeff had did some block pass, and it's probably the thing I wanted to spend the most visual design time on because the personalities associated with it. And I'd have a bunch of real loose, rough stuff to show you, Jeff, for stuff you haven't done yet, like arms and things like that.
Cool. This close to having a robot explode when it takes too much damage. So hopefully that'll be done in 20 minutes, and then I'll check that in, and then you can get working.
Foot rubs will be deployed in earnest.
That's going to be awesome.
All right.
Yeah, so on Friday I worked on just trying to start to steal some of Oliver's magic sauce, as we've been calling it. The wireframe rendering.
Leave Oliver's sauce alone and do your job.
And I was working on the Electrified effect. So when you everything the object you interact with through electricity shoots out of your hands. And we weren't sure exactly how we were going to show objects being electrified and kind of pick them up and attach them to things and move them around. So Oliver added this really cool feature where you can kind of see it in the sky there, where you can identify edges of geometry, and those edges can basically he put those into a texture that we can use anywhere we want. So I was experimenting with putting them on geometry so that could indicate the electricity effect. So right now on this little test object right now, that's actually going to eventually be a weapon, and I'm trying to kind of procedurally set it up so that any object you can kind of turn on the electrified state. So I was working with kind of taking the edge texture that Oliver had built for us and then distorting it with a bunch of kind of distortion textures and trying to see how it would look. And I think it looks pretty cool. I really like how on the distant objects it gives it kind of a slightly organic but still kind of electrified feel. It's interesting working with I really like the lines that come the hash effect kind of that appears there. I think it's really cool. But it's interesting, this project's so crazy because it's retro, but we also want it to look fucking awesome, while at the same time, being retro but not too retro. It's different than other projects I've worked on where you just keep piling on more and more cool visual effects until you're happy with it. This one, it's you want to keep piling stuff on, but you also want to not go so far that you lose that original inspiration, which is kind of crazy. The other thing that's really cool is we have point lights that are actually illuminating the edges of my hands, so that as I shoot, you can see the edges get respond to the light, which is something Oliver's done it too, which is really, really cool. And that works on the environment as well. So if I get near environmental objects and then light them up, you'll see that I activate all of those edges. So that's another one of those cool things. It's reinforcing the retro vibe. But that's the pretty stuff. I'm just working in shader code and stuff. It's really quite boring.
Oh, you want to see? Yeah. So I'll show you guys over the weekend I spent some time actually white boxing most of the levels. So this is kind of through the forest to the castle exterior. There's my secret entrance. It's a very difficult puzzle. This is where the world tree is going to be. I need to finish hooking that up. But here's the entrance to the dungeon, which you can't really get to quite yet. Yeah, and then to cheat through the dungeon, you can go through the secret hole in the wall up here. It's you can kind of, it's a big secret snaky path through here. And it's funny because I'm realizing I've never made an old school game like this before, and it's like I'm realizing that all of those things in the old NES games were totally for the developers. Like, it's like I need to get to the dungeon, and I don't want to do all the work to like implement the puzzle so that I can get over there. So I'm just going to carve a hole in the wall that's like some crazy snaky path that people probably won't find, and that'll get me there. But I'm thinking I should just leave all that stuff in there because like just kind of that's adds something to the charm of
True to the spirit of it.
exactly. Yeah. I have a cool bug in this room right now. It turns you into 4 characters. So like the puzzle is like you got to get one of the characters to the exit, get back out. I don't know. I may leave something like that in the game. Oh well, I mean, it's actually like a lot of console manufacturers, like anything that indicates that there's a problem with the game execution is kind of against the rules, right? Like they want everybody to have this impression that there's just this rock solid thing that never has any errors. So like people do stuff like when the game actually crashes, they'll throw up that dialogue that says, "Oh, your disc is dirty." Like it's not actually dirty at all. Like you just caused the game to crash in some unexpected way to try and create this illusion that none of that happens. But like I don't know, it's kind of antithetical to the spirit of the game, right? Like it's this game is actually about like peeking behind the sheets, and like the game's going to be straightforward with you when you break it, because breaking it is the name of the game. Sweet. All right. Well, this is our week. I'm hoping that we can kind of hit production pretty hard this week. That we've got everything set up in terms of the rigs and the environment pipeline and all that kind of stuff. So my goal is, ideally I would like to have the entire game essentially implemented by the end of the week, so that we can spend the couple extra days that we have the following week just kind of polishing and tuning and maybe overlaying some graphical effects and some of the things that we talked about stylistically that would help sell the idea. But if we can get through all the implementation this week, I think that we'll be in pretty good shape to do that.
Who do you think pays for this plastic surgery? You think that's free?
Kickstarter.
I spent all the Kickstarter money on this face.
What a beautiful work of art.
Thanks.
No, I was saying all the ideas were really different, but I'm surprised how unique they all look. Like visually, they're all very distinct and have their own kind of weird styles. So it's nice to see that quickly that they're all looking so nice.
Look at our past games. There was this explosion of different styles, which I thought was just like that's you hold them into one style for so long that just naturally just boing spring out.
Try to do something completely different. Yeah.
Most creative people, I think, want to do the opposite of whatever they're doing at that time.
Yeah. Yep. Do you think these are going to be ready and playable in 2 weeks, or I guess a week and a half now? Is one of them?
See, for a second, I got nervous because I was like, "Wait, are they not going to make it?" And then I realized I don't care. It's not my problem.
They're just prototypes.
It's Lee. No, it's important.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get fired. Lee or Brandon.
Lee's going to
get
get fired.
Levi. Yeah. One of those guys will get fired if they don't.
Oh, this is Greg Cam. We're going to check on what people are working on in the office. I'm able to, via Skype from my phone to the computer and then onto the live stream. So we can have everybody watch, see what's happening, check in with everybody on the team, get live updates on the internet. It's very exciting. Yeah, see? There you go.
Get a shot, Steve. Pretty soon we should have robots that can kill other robots. Soon they're gonna be able to blow the shit out of each other. Can I say that on the
You
iPhone
can say whatever
internet?
you want, man.
What? The FCC isn't gonna come
I don't
beat
think
us
they
up?
really care about this.
It's probably not very high on the priority list of the FCC.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is getting the girl character. She's here.
Oh, yeah,
she looks a little bit like Raz from Psychonauts. But yeah, so the animation I was working on Friday, that's what it looks like now on the new rig. A little bit different because the arm orientation is changed.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just gonna go and fix that. And but yeah, we're gonna see her in Black Lake pretty soon.
Hospital bed and desk.
And lab.
What's
lab.
this? Oh, lab?
Yeah, reactor and garden.
Wow, there's a lot of stuff in this game. This is what?
This is reactor, like engineer room.
Oh, a reactor. And then
reactor,
the garden.
Yeah, I'm doing just making props and
Props and stuff. Awesome. It seems like there's going to have to be a lot because there's a lot of stuff you can do in this game.
Did you see the thingy that I did for This is sort of like something that you did for Psychonauts, where you'll be able to click on everybody and see like a social network type feed of just like stuff that they're going through
in the
their
game,
daily life.
not as a design doc, or
No, yeah, in game.
in the game. Okay.
Yeah. Because like there will be like all this universal like building type stuff that you're doing, but then when you click on somebody, you can like see their stats, like their health and their morale. And then like this was just like an idea I had over the weekend where I was like, oh yeah, this can be like an on-station social network sort of thing, which is definitely sort of a funny little joke, where it's like, yes, we're building bases in space, but we still have social network technology, and we're posting on each other's timelines and stuff. But no, it just emerged as like this nice clear way to visualize what people were doing in a way that was really flavorful. It's kind of like that, it's like that imagination thing I was talking about, where, by having little things that people can say that sound like actual spontaneous human thoughts, and like, especially like Twitter and Facebook like type posts have this style to them as well. They're very clearly ephemeral, and people are just doing them in the spur of the moment. But they even if they don't have any content whatsoever, that's still kind of their content. And it just, like I realized in the course of just thinking up the text for that mock-up of like, oh yeah, they could talk about what they have for lunch, even though that's sort of a stereotypically pointless social network update. That's actually perfect because it helps you imagine like, oh yeah, what are these people eating,
And then are they gonna? Little guys have interpersonal relationships, like friendships, and fall in love.
Yep.
Will they make babies?
No,
spawn new
probably not.
people?
Probably
No?
not in 2 weeks. You need longer than 2 weeks to make a baby, right?
Oh, those guys look like
to make an alien baby. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? But the whole idea of these little guys, like breeding and passing on different traits to each other, and all kinds of crazy, and dysfunctional family dynamics and all that. I don't know.
So they have just mortal enemies for no reason sometimes.
No, well, I think it'll develop over time, because like they're gonna like start bumping into each other and interacting with each other, and they'll either like become friends or become enemies, and it's not reciprocal. So some people like someone can like somebody that hates them.
Is it all individual
like
based, or do they like if they bump into a green alien, they hate all the green aliens?
No, it's all individual based. There's no like right now the appearance is just the appearance, but we want to make it so that like down the road it would be nice to be able to do like qualities, like this person has green skin and 3 arms or something, and people can like or hate based on that, or stuff like that. But I don't know, I think we'll be lucky just to get like some basic, people have conversations and they come out of it feeling better or being more or less friendly to that person in the future. So, but even that, like there's some good stuff. And so we want to like, if all that stuff is happening, you won't really know that it happened because it's happening in a billion places at once. And this is kind of like a way to make it more visible and be like, oh yeah, she talked to somebody. Oh wait, I've seen her talking to her before. And then there's other stuff that's just like purely flavor, like what they ate for lunch and stuff that they're doing for enjoyment in their spare time, like listening to music and playing games that don't exist and all that kind of stuff. But,
like on Animal Crossing too.
Yeah.
You see 2 characters talking, and then all of a sudden they just have a fight, and they'll walk away all mad,
like, what was that all about?
Stomping with a cloud over their head.
Yep, yeah, and they'll still be in a bad mood. Yeah. So yeah, definitely some of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's something that like that's a big part of like when people say that Double Fine does games with good stories, sometimes they mean like yes, funny dialogue and well directed cutscenes and stuff, but other times they just mean like they took something that would have just in a lot of other video games would have just been like an arbitrary gamey thing that people just say like that the developers make no effort to explain or wrap in any kind of story context or whatever, and we tend to like try to do something interesting with it and be like, okay, no, let's not just have this be an arbitrary thing, or like a really dry, boring sort of thing that has minimal. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just like it's a nice, relatively easy way to contextualize stuff. So it's cool.
Has your team turned against you yet?
No, I
mean, need to
ask them.
Said mean things about you.
Maybe they are plotting to. Maybe I'm just gonna get a knife in the back. But no, they're doing great. They're fantastic. This is already way cooler than I could have thought.
Cameras are around.
I wanted to do the Leslie Nielsen thing. I want to do that so much from Naked Gun, where he's got the microphone on and he goes to the bathroom and he's like, and like the entire audience, like, yeah, it's amazing. today we need an audio kickoff meeting. Now that you're doing good, are you okay?
Yeah.
You're live? Okay. Anybody that wants in on that, we're talking about potential music for the game, how we're going to even make it with spoons or whatever, and we're going to just talk about audio assets and gameplay specific audio specifically. So for music, it's a big, I just need to focus in and say, this is what I want. I sent out the Assassination of Jesse James soundtrack, which is something that I think hits a great chord of simple stuff on top of a droning kind of synthetic. It hits the perfect tone of not really frightening, scary horror, but somber mood. Kind of melancholy.
Yeah, kind of that you're going to get killed at the end of this movie type feeling.
Another place that we could use some guitar licks, maybe, if this sounds interesting, is when you interact with her to find a clue. Kind of like the Zelda, just something. We could do like a stinger, like a little lick that.
Chum, chum.
Sweet.
But no, I think
we got a little world going on here.
Either way, the vehicle.
Yeah. The environment definitely is something that needs a lot of love because it is a game about a place. It is a game about a place. So, like the character of the forest is just as important as the character you're running around as. So, well, I'm not in love with these. These are just too noisy and not too detailed what's going on. Like I think the broader shapes, like this thing is totally cool and this thing is totally cool and this V is totally cool. When they start going parallel like this, it gets kind of like too much, I think. I would probably like cut that middle one off, and that is a totally cool tree that there's almost, the reason I say noisy is because they're in the foreground.
Yeah.
Because little things like this, when it starts getting on we want the foreground to be big objects that are very defined, simple shapes, because we have so much little things going on in the background. So if we have this, it's going to fight with the other things, I think.
I'll manicure those a little bit.
Yes, I'd grab some toenail clippers and jump inside your computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So Friday and Saturday was basically working on environments and environment props, kind of refining the trees, and we have some new white birch trees that are in the game right now.
Ooh. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and it's going to look great with the cattails at the edges too, and grasses. And
those are all done, by the way.
Oh, really?
I got cattails, got lily pads, got 3 types of lily pads with flowers.
Wow.
I got small trees.
You look like you're selling drugs to me right now. Hey, you should have like a giant coat. You should be like, what you got this, I got that.
You want some weed?
Yeah, man. I got some weeds. I got some dandelions. I got some.
That Ninja Gaiden guy appears out of nowhere.
It's a good place to start. And like just looking at it right now, it's kind of like boring. Yeah, because it's pretty empty right now. And like if you're the character walking around in it right now, it takes forever. Like you can't tell where you are. So I mean, just like filling it out with trees and stuff helps. So like, actually, I'll just put some rocks. But yeah, so like we just place these around, set dressing, and then like I think we're gonna get some more rocks from the cave once we start rolling. Then we can like fill out all these walls. But yeah, there's a lot of broken stuff right now. Hopefully, like by tomorrow or like Wednesday, like it'll be at a good point where we can like actually, it'll like start to look what it's actually gonna be for the final product. Yeah, the thing that's kind of interesting about Black Lake is, I guess in Autonomous it's kind of similar, but you can just roam around the forest and like find stuff on your own. I think some of the other ones are just kind of like more direct, like you have to accomplish things. But this one, I think you just walk around and look at shit, and it's fine. I don't know. I think that's like another one of the things that we have to figure out. Like once, like more of the gameplay stuff is in, like we can figure out if it's like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't even know, like, because especially the way the clues are laid out, I don't know if that might need some attention. Because like the way they have it planned out now is like, suppose like you can just wander the forest, but then like the clues, like there's an order to the clues, but you can go to any of these areas and the clue won't be there. So I don't know. I think like a couple playthroughs will have to be done to like figure that out.
Busy day. Yay.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yep. Today and tomorrow are going to be super busy. And probably Wednesday and Thursday and Friday.
How it is right now? Coming along?
It will tomorrow. Always tomorrow. Yeah, we're working on the Sky Dome and the tree line and stuff on the outside. And we should get some new climates on the inside tomorrow.
So you're going to kind of go through the forest a little bit, and this is going to be like the beginning of the tower?
Yeah, I really want to start as close as possible to the outside of the tower as we can, so that you're not just running around in an empty space where you don't really need to be. I want to try and get into the tower as quickly as possible. We can't force people to do that, but if we just encourage you, start you close and make it look more appealing to go there, then that's all we can do.
Why did you want to go with like a female protagonist in the first place?
I don't know. I never really thought about that. It was just what felt right for the pitch. I don't know. There's enough Space Marines, right? I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't really a conscious thing.
But this is her body, so. And this is the temp model that I made so that Dave could start animating her. So we sort of knew what she was going to look like based on some early sketches of this girl. So I kind of added what I thought we would need as far as joints, because we wanted things to simulate so that you don't have to animate it. It just like can blow in the wind by itself. So I did all of that. Now I'm just kind of refining what we call the skin weights so that when you move, like say this jaw control, her mouth will actually open instead of her entire face, which when you first skin it, half her face goes with her jaw, so it looks really frightening for a while, and she looks pretty scary in the game right now, which is how I knew it was wrong, because her eyes were like just all like pulled down. So I was gonna do that, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because she really is only a temp version. And I'm gonna hop on this model today, hopefully get it done within the next day or two, get the materials done. Dave can keep animating on this temp version because the joints hopefully won't change. As long as the joints don't change, the mesh can totally change, and she can end up looking like that, and Dave doesn't have to redo anything.
Yeah,
that
it's like
way.
her wrists, her elbows, like all
Yeah,
that stuff.
as long as it's what you consider your bones stay in the right place, the skin can change on the outside. So, but it's better to get people things early.
Yeah.
So that they can start doing their job, because you never want to be the roadblock. Because then all the pressure comes down on you. So, yeah. And that way Dave can do animations, the gameplay programmers can hook up his animations, Jane can figure out how she needs to build the level so the girl can, actually grab ledges. And that's not the way we used to do it, so.
Well, you learn some tricks after a while.
Yeah, after Psychonauts, it's like, okay, what do we not want to have happen this time? So good things come from those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.